and function of the heart, the four chambers: right atrium, left ventricle, right ventricle, left side, oxygenated blood is circulated, right side, deoxygenated blood. Left side for systemic circulation and right side for pulmonary circulation. There is a septum to separate the left side and the right side. So four chambers are completely separated. Between left atrium and left ventricle, and also right atrium and right ventricles, there are valves. Also inside the aorta and pulmonary arteries, there are valves. And the associated blood vessels, right atrium, superior and inferior vena cava, right ventricle, pulmonary artery, left ventricle, aorta, left atrium, pulmonary veins. So this diagram, you can see the aorta and the aortic valves, pulmonary artery and the pulmonary valves, left ventricle, left atrium, right ventricle, right atrium, between right atrium and right ventricle, tricuspid valve, left atrium and left ventricle, mitral valve or bicuspid valves, pulmonary veins connected to left atrium, aorta connected to left ventricle, pulmonary artery connected to right ventricle, superior and inferior vena cava connected to right atrium. So blood in the right ventricle pumps to the lungs, that is to get oxygen, that is pulmonary circulation. Blood from the lungs, the oxygenated blood flows back to left atrium. Then that blood enters to left ventricle to enter the aorta and distribute all over the body. Then blood in the left ventricle pumps this oxygenated blood throughout the body other than the lungs. Then blood, the deoxygenated blood after cellular respiration, oxygen is utilized. This blood returns to the right atrium through superior and inferior vena cava. So this diagram summarizes pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. How the pulmonary circulation gets oxygen from the lungs and how that oxygenated blood comes back to the heart and distribute all over the body, and then how the deoxygenated blood comes back and sent to lungs to get oxygen once again. Right side, deoxygenated blood, left side, oxygenated blood. So if you consider from the right side or the right ventricle to the lungs, then that blood flows back through pulmonary veins to the left atrium, then to the left ventricle, then through aorta to the body or the organs, then from those organs if it is downwards from inferior vena cava back to the right atrium. As earlier mentioned, the heart is made up of special muscle cells known as cardiac muscles. They have the intrinsic rhythmicity. They can contract and relax regularly throughout the lifetime. And they are constantly active, so they need energy. That energy is supplied with the blood through coronary artery to provide enough oxygen and glucose to produce ATP by cellular respiration. So they have a lot of mitochondria. And the backflow of blood is prevented by heart valves. So unidirectional flow is ensured by these valves. Then the effect of exercise on heartbeat and reasons, causes of coronary heart disease. A heartbeat is a contraction. Each contraction squeezes blood to the lungs and the body, pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. It is like 70 times a minute. It can be more even. And there is a rate, heart rate. Heart rate becomes lower if the fitness is high. During exercise, when you are doing exercises, the heart rate increases temporarily. That is to supply enough blood or glucose and oxygen for cellular respiration, aerobic respiration. Now, when a person is regularly exercising, so the heart muscles are kept on working and maintains blood pressure, and it reduces the risk of coronary heart diseases and stroke. As earlier mentioned, coronary arteries provide glucose and oxygen to cardiac muscles. So they need constant supply of glucose and oxygen for contractions and relaxations. But if the coronary arteries are blocked due to cholesterol or blood clot, the cardiac muscles are not provided with enough oxygen and glucose for aerobic respiration, and they don't have enough energy to contract. So heart stops beating. It is called a heart attack or cardiac arrest or myocardial infarction. If the coronary arteries are partially blocked, it is known as angina. If they are fully blocked, that is heart attack. There are causes and preventive measures for coronary heart diseases. Poor diet with too much of saturated or animal fat. Cholesterol build up in arteries, so they block the coronary arteries and form a blood clot. So it's better if we can reduce the saturated fat or animal fat. Smoking. Nicotine like compounds damage the heart and blood vessels, so they can even increase blood pressure. So uh, if you avoid smoking, it's a preventive measure. Then the stress. Stress increases blood pressure, so it can collect fatty material in arteries. So the relaxing or avoid the cause of stress is a preventive measure. Obesity. Obesity uh, is an extra strain on the heart. So heart has to function with greater effort. So if you can control your diet and do regular exercises, that reduces the risk. And lack of exercise. So heart muscles become less efficient in pumping blood. So regular exercise is very important as a preventive measure. Then there are genetic factors or inherited factors. There are genes which can pass from the family background. So if such genes, so if the history shows that there are previous cases, so we have to change our lifestyle in order to prevent the risk. So this is how the heart or the cardiac muscles are provided with glucose and oxygen by coronary arteries. If the coronary arteries are blocked by plaques of cholesterol, and if there are blood clots, it can block the coronary arteries to cause angina and heart attack.